All right, chapter 23. Textbooks tell us that Dhurmsala meteorites were picked up soon or within half an hour. Given a little time, the conventionalists may argue that these stones were hot when they fell, but that their great interior coldness had overcome the molten state of their surfaces. According to the deputy commissioner of Dhurmsala, these stones had been picked up immediately by passing coolies. These stones were so cool that they benumbed the fingers, but they had fallen with a great light. It is described as a flame of fire about 2 feet in depth and 9 feet in length. Acceptably, this light was not the light of molten matter. In this chapter, we are very intermediatistic and unsatisfactory. To the intermediates, there is but one answer to all questions, sometimes and sometimes not. Another form of this intermediatist solution of all problems is yes and no. Everything that is also isn't. A positivist attempts to formulate. So does the intermediatist, but with less rigorousness. He accepts but also denies. He may seem to accept in one respect and deny in some other respect, but no real line can be drawn between any two aspects of anything. The intermediatist accepts that which seems to correlate with something that he has accepted as a dominant. The positivist correlates with a belief. In the Dhurmsala meteorites, we have support for our expression that things entering this Earth's atmosphere sometimes shine with a light that is not the light of incandescence, or so we can account, or offer an expression upon thunderstones, or carved stones that have fallen luminously to this earth in streaks that have looked like strokes of lightning. But we accept also that some things that have entered this earth's atmosphere disintegrate with the intensity of flame and molten matter, but some things we accept enter this earth's atmosphere and collapse non-luminously, quite like deep-sea fishes brought to the surface of the ocean. Whatever agreement we have is an indication that somewhere aloft there is a medium denser than this earth's atmosphere. I suppose our stronghold is in that such is not popular belief, or the rhythm of all phenomena. Air dense at sea level upon this earth, less and less dense as one ascends, then denser and denser. A good many bothersome questions arise. Our attitude. Here are the data. Luminous rains sometimes fall. This is light that is not the light of incandescence, but no one can say that these occasional or rare rains come from this Earth's externality. We simply note cold light of falling bodies. For luminous rain, snow and dust, see Hartwig, Aerial World, page 319. As to luminous clouds, we have more nearly definite observations and opinions. They mark transition between the old dominant and the new dominant. We have already noted the transition in Professor Schwedeldorf's theory of external origin of some hailstones, and the implications that, to a former generation, seem so preposterous. Droll was the word. That there are in intraplanetary regions volumes of water, whether they have fishes and frogs in them or not. Now, our acceptance is that clouds sometimes come from external regions, having had origin from super geographical lakes and oceans that we shall not attempt to chart just at present, only suggesting to enterprising aviators. And we note that we put it all up to them and show no inclination to go to Columbusing on our own account, that they take bathing suits, or rather deep sea diving suits, along. So then, that some clouds come from interplanetary oceans of the Super Sargasso Sea, if we still accept the Super Sargasso Sea, and shine upon entering the Earth's atmosphere. In Himmel und Art, February 1889, a phenomenon of transition of 30 years ago, Herr Jesse, in his observations upon luminous night clouds, notes the great height of them, and drolly or sensibly suggests some of them may have come from regions external to this earth. I suppose he means only from other planets, but it's a very droll and sensible idea either way. In general, I am accounting for a great deal of this Earth's isolation. That it is relatively isolated by circumstances that are similar to the circumstances that make for relative isolation of the bottom of the ocean, except that there is a clumsiness of analogy. Now, to call ourselves deep sea fishes has been convenient, but in a quasi existence, there is no convenience that will not sooner or later turn awkward. So, if there be denser regions aloft, these regions should now be regarded as analogous of far submerged ocean regions, and things coming to this earth would be like things rising to an antiquated medium and exploding, sometimes incandescently, sometimes with cold light, sometimes non luminously, like deep sea fishes brought to the surface, altogether conditions of inhospitality. On inhospitality. Inhospitality. I can't say that word. Inhospitality. Hospitality? Inhospitality. I have a suspicion that in their own depths, these sea fishes are inhospitable. Inhospitability. I have a suspicion that in their own depths, deep sea fishes are not luminous. If they are, Darwinism is mere Jesuitism in attempting to correlate them. Such advertising would so attract attention that all advantages would be more than offset. Darwinism is largely a doctrine of concealment. Here we have brazen proclamation. If accepted, fishes in the mammoth cave need no light to see by. We might have an expression that deep sea fishes turn luminous upon entering a less dense medium, but models in the American Museum of Natural History specialized organs of luminosity upon these models. Of course, we do remember that awfully convincing dodo, and some of our sophistications we trace to him. At any rate, disruption is disregarded. At any rate, disruption is regarded as a phenomenon of coming from a dense to a less dense medium. On account by M. Arcarius in the Transactions of the Swedish Academy of Science, 1808-215, translated for the North American Review, 3-319, that M. Arcarius, having heard of an extraordinary and probably hitherto unseen phenomenon, reported from near the town of Schenning, Sweden, investigated that upon the 16th of May, 1808, at about 4 p.m., the sun suddenly turned dull brick red. At the same time, there appeared upon the western horizon a great number of round bodies, dark brown and seemingly the size of a hat crown. They passed overhead and disappeared in the eastern horizon. Tremendous procession. It lasted 2 hours. Occasionally one fell to the ground. When the place of a fall was examined, there was found a film, which soon dried and vanished. Often, when approaching the sun, these bodies seemed to link together, or were then seen to be linked together in groups not exceeding 8, and under the sun they were seen to have tails 3 or 4 fathoms long. Away from the sun, the tails were invisible. Whatever their substance may have been, it is described as gelatinous, soapy, and jellied. I place this datum here for several reasons. It would have been a good climax to our expression upon hordes of small bodies that, in our acceptance, were not seeds, nor birds, nor ice crystals. But the tendency would have been to jump to the homogeneous conclusion that all our data in that expression related to this one kind of phenomena, whereas we conceive of infinite heterogeneity of the external, of crusaders and rabbles and immigrants and tourists and dragons and things like gelatinous hat crowns, or that all things here upon this earth that flock together are not necessarily sheep, Presbyterians, gangsters, or porpoises. The datum is important to us here as indication of disruption in this Earth's atmosphere, dangers in entering this Earth's atmosphere. I think myself that thousands of objects have been seen to fall from aloft and have exploded luminously and have been called ball lightning. As to what ball lightning is, we have not yet begun to make intelligent guesses. Weather Review 34-13. In general, it seems to me that when we encounter the opposition ball lightning, we should pay little attention but confine ourselves to guesses that are at least intelligent that stand phantom like in our way. We note here that in some of our acceptances upon intelligence, we should more clearly have pointed out that they were upon the intelligent as opposed to the instinctive. In the monthly weather review 33-409, there is an account of ball lightning that struck a tree. It made a dent such as a falling object would make. Some other time I shall collect instances of ball lightning to express that they are instances of objects that have fallen from the sky, luminously exploding terrifically. Yeah. So bewildered is the old orthodoxy by these phenomena that many scientists have either denied ball lightning or have considered it very doubtful. I refer to Dr. Sistier's list of 150 instances which he considered authentic. In accord with our disaccord is an instance related in a monthly weather review, March 1887, something that fell luminously from the sky, accompanied by something that was not so affected or that was dark. That, according to Captain C.D. Sweet of the Dutch bark JPA, upon March 19, 1887, north 37 degrees, 39 foot, west 57 degrees, infinity feet. I have no idea how to read directions like that. He encountered a severe storm. He saw two objects in the air above the ship. One was luminous and might be explained in several ways, but the other was dark. One or both fell into the sea with a roar and the casting upon the billows. It is our acceptance that these things had entered the Earth's atmosphere, having first crashed through a field of ice. Immediately afterward, lumps of ice fell. One of the most astonishing of the phenomena of ball lightning is a phenomenon of many meteorites, violence of explosion out of all proportion to size and velocity. We accept that the icy meteorites of Dhurmsalla would or could have fallen with no great velocity, but the sound from them was tremendous. The soft substance that fell at the Cape of Good Hope was carbonaceous, but was unburned or had fallen with velocity insufficient to ignite it. The tremendous report that it made was heard over an area more than 70 miles in diameter. That some hailstones have been formed in a dense medium and violently disintegrate in this Earth's relatively thin atmosphere. Nature 88-350. Large hailstones noted at the University of Missouri, November 11th, 1911. They exploded with sounds like pistol shots. The writer says that he had noticed a similar phenomenon 18 years before at Lexington, Kentucky. Hailstones that seemed to have been formed in a denser medium. When melted underwater, they gave out bubbles larger than their central air spaces. Our acceptance is that many objects have fallen from the sky, but that many of them have disintegrated violently. This acceptance will coordinate with data still to come, but also we make it easy for ourselves in our expressions upon superconstructions if we're asked why, from thinkable wrecks of them, girders, plates, or parts recognizably of manufactured metal have not fallen from the sky. However, as to composition, we have not this refuge, so it is our expression that there have been reported instances of the fall of manufactured metal from the sky. The meteorite of Rutherford, North Carolina, is of artificial material, mass of pig iron. It is said to be fraudulent. The object that was said to have fallen at Marble's Head, Massachusetts in 1858 is described in the American Journal of Science 2-34-135 as a furnace product formed in smelting copper ores or iron ores containing copper. It is said to be fraudulent. According to Ehrenberg, the substance reported by Captain Callum to have fallen upon his vessel near Java offered complete resemblance to the residue resulting from combustion of a steel wire in a flask of oxygen. Nature, November 21st, 1878, publishes a notice that, according to the Yuma Sentinel, a meteorite that resembles steel had been found in the Mojave Desert. In Nature, February 15th, 1894, we read that one of the meteorites brought to the United States by Peary from Greenland is of tempered steel. The opinion is that meteoritic iron had fallen in water or snow, quickly cooling and hardening. This does not apply to composition. Composition. November 5th, 1898, Nature publishes a notice of a paper by Professor Berwith of Vienna upon the close connection between meteoric iron and steelwork steel. At the meeting of November 24th, 1906, of the Essex Field Club was exhibited a piece of metal said to have fallen from the sky October 9th, 1906, at Braintree, according to the Essex naturalist Dr. Fletcher of the British Museum, had declared this metal to be smelted iron, so that the mystery of its reported fall remained